Hey, happy Wednesday, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Mastermind Academy. We got some cool stuff tonight. Tonight, we're talking about monitoring, logging, and observability. Really, we're talking about observability and then everything underneath of it. To be honest, we'll do some cool stuff tonight. I do have plans to go back and conquer that NodeJS app that we lost to. I messed around with it a little bit later. Very simple problem. We're gonna go over that. We're still gonna use that as our base tonight. But how is everyone doing tonight? Welcome to the stream. If it's your first time, let me know where you're tuning in from. We are on week 11. We have 2 weeks left. So not even 2 weeks left. We have a week and a half left. We have today and we have 2 streams next week. And then we'll be done with our first inaugural. This is our inaugural boot camp. We'll take what we've learned from this. We'll synthesize it. I actually have a feedback session. I'm actually going to do a retro. The next stream after the boot camp's over, so that next Monday is going to be a stream retro. I might do it earlier, but it's going to stream retro. Talk about what what I thought went well, what didn't go well. Give you guys a chance to hop into like a Trello board or Google Sheets or something, and we'll throw in what could be better, what we can change, and we'll apply that to the next streams, the next boot camps that are coming along, which will be again another. We'll redo this DevOps bootcamp, but again, it'll be bigger, it'll be better. We'll shore up some of the content. We'll make sure we clean up some of the stuff we had trouble with this time. We're going to be doing a cloud computing one, most likely with Amazon Web Services, and we're going to be doing one with Python. All three of those will probably start after the new year, right after the new year. And until then, we'll be doing all kinds of little workshops. We'll definitely be doing a whole Docker Kubernetes one, probably a 1 week, maybe it might be 4 streams that week about Docker and Kubernetes to kind of get up to speed. We'll dive deeper into each of these topics that we've talked about during this. We will dive into, also have a few other options to kind of check out. Probably going to end up doing 100 days of code as well, and probably with check-ins probably every Saturday morning, and I'll probably stream just to kind of check in, but I'll be doing 100 days of code for anyone who wants to participate in that. But yeah, we're definitely going to be diving into this a little bit deeper. I actually have a surprise for you all. It might not be until next Wednesday, but Monday I won't be streaming from here. We'll actually be streaming from the office of the company that I work for. And so we'll be streaming out of there because we have some cool owl cams and a better setup. People can all sit around and we'll get a little bit better audio there. So, but on Wednesday, we'll have some cool stream add-ons for Wednesday for the learning how to conquer the interview session. And actually, let's look at that. Just what we're going to be doing. There's also some amendments to what we have on the docket for tonight. I really meant to go back and change this, but this is great because last time, two streams ago, we set up our CI/CD pipeline for the main website itself. So I do need to change this, but we are not using Datadog tonight. So I'm sorry if you're someone who really hopped on here wanting to learn Datadog. Not that there's anything against Datadog, but I signed up for a free trial of Datadog when I was setting this up to see if I wanted to use Datadog. I never used it and that trial ran out. So we're not using Datadog because I no longer have a free trial and I didn't want to make a new email account. So we're just going to be using, we're going to be using New Relic, but no big deal. Very simple. They're very similar. We'll be checking that out. We're also not using Monet. We're just going to use infrastructure monitoring inside of CloudWatch. So I'll update that. But we're going to have some fun tonight. We're going to mess around. We're going to learn. We're going to kind of put everything together. We're just going to be free flowing. We're going to, we need to be able to observe. We need to spin up some infrastructure and have an application going. So we will do both of those things. So cool. That is what we are going to do. Oh, let's fix the site right now. Yeah, let's do that. Let's fix the site right now. Thank you. That's actually pretty good. That is the DevOps ethos right there. When you find a problem, fix it immediately. So let's go ahead and fix that right now. So I think I have this cloned here. But I do have some slides for tonight. So after we fix the site, we'll hop straight into the slides. There's only like 6 slides just to get you underneath the observability umbrella per se. But yeah, it's the concepts tonight aren't necessarily difficult to follow. I think they're very understandable concepts. It just takes some time to figure out. There's a lot of tools in this space, and it takes some time to figure out, what to use when and what's overkill, what's not. And it's really what works best for you and your setup. There's no really kind of catch-all here for me to give you, but we're just going to cover those things in a second. But let's update this site because if I don't do it now, I may not do it. So we called it the gospel. The site is the gospel. And again, I don't remember why I called it that, but I love it. And hopefully you love it too. So this is our Hugo site. What do we want to update? So we want to update, what did I say we wanted to do? We wanted to update the stuff on this curriculum page, and we wanted to change this. So let's go curriculum. I think it's in here, DevOps curriculum. Here we go. Very simple. So the site is built with Hugo. The site is just Markdown. So you can see here, I just have some, some characters that help me determine the formatting of the words that I'm using, of the sections that we'll see here. So you see the two pound signs give me like a H2, I believe, and 4 give me an H4. So you can see here the different sizes here and how they relate. Let's actually put them side by side. Let's I thought that was gonna work. I forgot this is not Windows. Let's put them side by side for a second and close this up. And just so you can see how it flows here. Let's go back to the very top up here. Oh no. There we go. And cool. So what you learn right here is just a big H2. And then we've got stream. Actually, is this the right? Stream 1, DevOps Bootcamp introduction. Oh yeah, that looks right. Oh, this is actually, I don't think I actually updated. I don't know if I ever updated this. Or I don't know if this is the right. Oh, this is example branch. Let me switch back to master really quick. Let's see, and it's probably right. I probably just need to clear some caches, but no big deal. Let's update this. So we do want to change down here. I'm on master now. We want to change the section about monitoring and logging. So infrastructure monitoring with Monit, that's not gonna be right. So I'll do application performance monitoring with Datadog, and then I'll just do infrastructure monitoring and log management with CloudWatch, and we'll save that. And now that we have it saved, it says I edited something else. I don't remember editing this, but I don't really care about it. I'm not gonna save what I changed here. So we saved it. All right, what do we have to do now? Let's do a git status. So we see here that we updated a file. It's been modified. We're following it. So we're gonna. What's the first step? The first step was to check our status. What's the first real step, I guess, in the Git workflow here? Now we've got to tell it that we want to track those changes, and we want to stage this commit. So we're gonna do a git add content curriculum DevOps stop markdown, and then again get in the habit of doing a git status to kind of know where you're at in the process. Green is good, red is bad, green is good. This is ready to be staged, or this is staged and ready to be committed. So now we're gonna commit it, and this is gonna make our little point in time backup here. This is actually making the changes that we wanna make to the base branch, and we're gonna say fixed monitoring, logging, and observability section of DevOps curriculum. So pretty explanatory there. So we know exactly what we did in this commit. And then we're gonna do git push. And I really need to update this. I should update that now as well, but I do want to hop into everything that we're doing. And then what's gonna happen now? We set up our build pipeline last time. Oh, you see the Git rocket actually shot that time. You guys didn't see it. We'll do that later. We'll definitely push some more code. But let's see if we can get in a circle before it's done building. Go to app. All right, so it's building. It's gonna run our build here. And actually, I'm actually not even sure if I have to do, I'm not sure if this does a Hugo build for me. I might have had to Hugo build it myself. But yes, the terminal didn't crash because we made the change that we needed to make last time. But we'll see if this update happens. But while this is happening, we know that this is going to AWS. So let's go to Amazon Web Services and let's get logged in. I'm already logged in. So my session's still good here. And we're gonna have to go to CloudFront because we do have some caching in front of this. We do have a content delivery network sitting in front of this. So we do have to clear these caches once this is complete. So let's watch this. Let's make sure our build's done. Action Hugo build. All right, deploy to AWS should be there. I'm going to do an entire invalidation, even though I could just do an invalidation on this page. My site's not very heavy. You do get a select number of invalidations for free per month, but I won't hit those because I don't have a lot of pages on the site. So I'll just go ahead and I'll copy this and I'll reinvalidate. This is going to clear the cache for all the items on my site. You should be a little more intentional about doing this if you are running CloudFront. If your site's not super small like mine is, be intentional about what you're invalidating, because this can get costly. But again, you'll be fine. It takes a lot of invalidations. I think before it costs you money. I think they give you something like 10,000 or something free validations per month. I don't remember what paying for file invalidation. I don't remember how many it is. 3,000. You pay for each invalidation path over 1,000 in a month. Oh, that's less than I thought it was. So yeah, so 1,000 invalidation paths. So if you have a site with 100 page, with 10 pages, you can invalidate that 10 times. Oh no, you can validate that 100 times before you have to start paying for it. But you can see how if your site has lots of pages, that can get pretty heavy pretty fast, especially in an enterprise space. So don't do that. It's not very expensive to do it, but yeah. But that's doing that now, and I can probably refresh and start to see my changes already. And you can see the changes here because this actually had dates. I need to go back and change that. These had dates here, but an older code base had stream 5 and stuff, and I don't think I pushed the dates properly. And I don't think I ever checked that into my Git repo. So that changed. You can see here, not Circle CI, observability. You can see here the changes that we made. It's only 2 lines now, so we removed the part about I forgot to fix the Datadog piece, but we need to fix that. I'll fix that in a second. But you can see here there are only 2 options here. So just like that, we were able to deploy, pull down some code, and deploy to our production website. So that's pretty cool. All right, so now that we did that, you know what? Just in the background, I gotta fix that really quick because that's gonna bother me. With what are we using tonight? New Relic, and let's go ahead and push that real quick just so you can see the rocket go off getting. But Git status. I'm gonna skip the add part. I'm gonna do it am -a will add all the things that need to be added. Don't do this all the time. I want you to get in the habit of doing the workflow of git add, then git commit. But I'm gonna do it all in one thing. Git commit -am and change was a Datadog to New Relic in DevOps curriculum. I don't even know if I'm spelling this right. And I have fat fingers, so I make fat finger mistakes. And I'll git push, and you'll see our rocket go off. Oh, mastermind.io. There we go. That's the right username. I usually would be using SSH keys for this, but I never set them up. And we can see our rocket shooting off here, and it's gone. So that's pretty cool. So yeah, push it to production. We'll let that build in the background while we go ahead and do the rest of our stuff and get started on what we want to get started on. Let's close these tabs to the right. And let's hop into, what do we want to hop into? Hop into these quick few slides. They're really, really, really quick. Observability. Observability, I can see, and it really is. It really is about that. Observability is a bigger thing than just monitoring, a bigger thing than just logging. It comprises a lot of pieces. We're going to focus on these 3 pieces tonight, but let's talk about what it is. So what is observability? In a world of software products and services, observability means you can answer any questions about what's happening on the inside of your system. So you have these systems, you can answer questions about what's going on the inside of them just by observing the outside of the system. So we don't need to be inside and messing around and running all these commands to parse logs and things like that. We can get that information from the outside of the system without having to ship new code to answer new questions. So What does this mean? This means that you have, so one, this is also something that is enabled by tooling, but it means that we can get the information that we need to out of our servers. We can take a lot of different pieces of information, a lot of different metrics, and we can use that to make decisions about what's going on. And the combination of all those things, the combination of all of those streams of information about your infrastructure, about your systems, about your applications, can really help you make decisions and kind of really understand what's going on from the outside. So that's, again, it's observing from the outside without having to log in and do a bunch of stuff on the inside. So you can see that that was just one slide, because that's what that pretty much covers observability. And until you kind of learn the pieces of it, it's really hard to understand what that means before you get into practice. Yeah. Oh, Nor, schedule my AWS and DevOps Pro. That's dope. So for next month, I'm taking my SA Pro. I'm taking the Solutions Architect Pro in the beginning of December. So I am still studying for that. I think I'll be okay by then. But the DevOps Pro, I'm still thinking about getting that. After I get the SA Pro, I probably will give that a go. So dope. Good luck. Let us know how it goes for sure. Yeah, definitely let us know how it goes for sure. I know a bunch of people studying right now. Well, cool. So next thing is monitoring. Monitoring is pretty simple. This is what most people know about, but monitoring is a verb, something that we perform against our applications and systems to determine their state. So something we do against a server or application to determine their state, from basic fitness tests to know whether they're up or down. So this is monitoring whether or not a application or a system is alive or not, or dead, or or down and out, turned off or turned on. To more proactive performance health checks. We monitor applications to detect problems and anomalies. So monitoring absolutely tells us is absolutely a tool in observability to kind of give us the information we need to make decisions and to know what's going on. So monitoring is really focusing on various aspects of the applications, of the architecture, health checks, things like that, to know the state of them. And so monitoring is very important in this aspect. Some of the cool monitoring tools out there right now, Nagios is probably the oldest, most tried and true one. Again, there's something called Monit. There's something called Prometheus, which is a big one right now. Prometheus does a little bit more than just monitoring, but there are a few tools out here for this. A lot of people have kind of combined these I've been using these observability tools like Datadog and New Relic to kind of also handle their monitoring needs, but also a lot of the cloud providers such as Amazon and Azure, they give you a lot of monitoring tools out of the box, so you don't necessarily always need to have to monitor in the way that that you used to have to monitor. So yeah, so monitoring is an important part of the observability stack as well. And then the last thing is logging. And again, there are more pieces to this, but logging is super duper important. But in a clear way, logging is just a fancy word to define a process of writing down everything that you do. So in this sense, the you is not you, it is the systems, it's the computers, it's the applications. And logging is, logging is a way that you can configure these applications and this architecture and these systems to write down everything that they do and put them into files, spit them into files that you can refer to if there are issues, to know what's going on. Because again, these systems can't talk, but this is the way that they do talk. This is the way that they let you know what's going on within them, that you can use this information to know what happened and to how to remedy situations, how to make them better. So logging is great, but a lot of times people do not take the time to set up proper logging. You generally get a lot of logging out of the box for most things, and people usually think those things are good enough. But when you're dealing with bigger, larger, more complex systems, you need to be very diligent. You need to be very active and making sure your logs and your logging methods are useful for you, so that you can get the information that you need. People who are application architects and developers who are building applications, this is very important for you too, to build in proper logging into the applications that you write. I'll give it proper errors, very descriptive errors, so that when at places who are still not doing DevOps, real DevOps, and they're still throwing stuff over the wall, that when it goes to ops and there's an issue, they know what they can do by reading, or they know what the problem is by reading what you put in there. But very simple. All that is very simple. That's all the slides I have for you tonight. And we'll set up, you'll see a little bit of all of this tonight. But again, a little bit more free flowing, a little more hands-on. I kind of actually, even though we ran into a lot of problems last time, I really liked just kind of running through, seeing the kind of stuff you run into on accident, like not having something super set up and ready to go was actually a great thing in my mind. So tonight we're gonna do a lot of the same thing. Hopefully we can learn from our mistakes last time. And I don't like to lose, especially on a live stream. So hopefully we can make sure we get Node.js up and running. I mean, we couldn't do it before. We should be able to do it now. Oh, you mean Dev actually wants to provide ops with logs? Yes, this is a big point of contention. Not properly logging your application yet is very, it's a big problem for ops people who are still in the ops space. Companies still operate with, an ops team. Not having good logging sucks. Right now, I've dealt with that a ton, dealing with the main data point, the CMS that we use for the project that I work on at work is Drupal. Now, we don't do any Drupal development. None of us are PHP developers, Drupal developers. And so it's been very interesting because Drupal does not give you good information about what's going on, and we're talking about site breaking things. If something breaks your site, Drupal will spit out a completely nondescript error about what's actually happening, and it is very frustrating. So this is something that is as close to me as you're learning how to. Anyone who's learning how to code, anyone who's learning how to write applications, please, from the bottom of my heart, please do logs properly. You can even put cool stuff in there. You can put emojis in there. You can do all kinds of cool stuff, but just make sure I know what's going on. Make sure your errors are descriptive of the real problem. All right, so what do we need to be able to monitor, to be able to log and to observe? We need two things. We need some infrastructure, and we need infrastructure, and we need some an application. So I would use Terraform because we do have Terraform on here, and actually we have some Terraform stuff to spin up, but I don't remember if we had worked out some VPC issues and stuff. So I'm going to skip that. I'm simply going to just spin up an EC2 instance, really simple, because that's all we're going to need for this tonight. So very simple. This was the one we were working on last time. It's been terminated. And we're going to launch an instance. And again, we are going to stick with Ubuntu because that is what gave us so much trouble last time. And that is we've been learning a lot how to use the Ubuntu, the package manager that lives on Ubuntu. So if this is your first time on here and you're wondering why we're using Ubuntu for this, that is why, because I think most of that comes from the computer that I'm running on is, this VM is Pop! OS, which is Ubuntu based. So a lot of the commands for installing things have been through apt, and I think people understand that, or getting to understand that. So we'll leave all this all good. We won't give it a roll or anything, because this is going to be a very simple thing. We're going to give it 30 gigs because we can get 30 gigs for free. And we're going to add a tag, and let's give it a name. And we're going to call this Observability Server. Sure. Very descriptive. All right, so we need to open up some ports here. Obviously, we need SSH. I think that application we were looking at ran on port 8080, I think. And then I think generally Node runs on 3000. So open up all of these just in case it's one of these. You shouldn't do this. You should only open up the ports that you know that you need for sure. But I didn't feel like coming back in here. So we are going to open up these ports right now, hoping that we get it right. And let's go ahead. Actually, last time, you know what? Last time, we ran into some sizing issues. So, I think we ran into some memory issues last time when we were trying to do an npm install or something. So let's go ahead and let's make this a little bit larger. Now, we're not rich over here, but we don't have $0. So let's go next. Add storage. Put that back on 30. Add tags. All good, all good. Too small. All right, so we got a little bit more space. We're feeling a little fancy, we're treating ourselves tonight. We got this key here. Acknowledge that you have the key pair. Again, whenever you get to this step, make sure that you have the key pair that it's saying here. And if not, go ahead and create yourself a new one, but make sure you have whatever key pair is there, because if you don't, you will not be able to log into the server. Why won't you be able to log into the server? mostly, and not mostly, only because there's no username and password authentication. With AWS servers, you have to log in through SSH key pairs, and you need to make sure you have the SSH key pair. So let's view our instance. It is pending. It is almost up, and let's go ahead and get logged in. So let's hop into here. Let's clear this out. We don't need anything here, but I'll just clear this out. And what do we need to get in here? We need either the public IP address or the public DNS address. I like using the public DNS address. Don't really know why. They both can change, so be wary of that. They won't always be the same. If you spin something down, it may come back up with a different IP address or public DNS address. But I don't know. I just like to use the public DNS address. And it's running. Actually, let's move this down one screen. Cool. So let's put together our SSH command. SSH stands for Secure Shell, allows you to log into a remote Linux machine. So SSH, and then because this is a key-based, I have to tell it where my key is. My key is still in downloads because I never moved it, again, because I'm lazy. So that's my key. That's the key that I said I wanted to apply to the server. And so I want to say, hey, here's my key. -I stands for identity file, and that's what you use to specify your key. And then we know the user for an Ubuntu server is Ubuntu, and then we'll paste in the DNS name. Just to show you, the user absolutely does matter for most distributions. On Amazon, the user is EC2 user. This is a common thing, like should remember this, but not for Ubuntu. So if I try to log in, it will fail. It won't give you an error, won't tell you why, but again, that's because my user is wrong. So Ubuntu, we need to be the Ubuntu user, and we're logged in, and you can see it gives us a nice little welcome message, and that's how we know we're in. There's no updates or upgrades available, so we're not even going to go through and run an update. Psych! I have to do it out of habit. Got to just do my got to do an update, even though there are none. I don't need to go through and do an upgrade, but I got to do an update just to make myself feel good. I don't trust the welcome message there, but excellent. So we have this done. What we're going to do today, instead of me installing from the default packages, we're going to go ahead and just Google. So this is how you would do something on the job. If I didn't know how to install NodeJS, or even the first time I joined my project, and I actually hadn't managed a Node project before, and actually didn't know much about Node, and we had to Dockerize everything. But like, you know, if I want to do all that, like, how do I even get Node installed? Let's say, let's Google how to install Node.js on Ubuntu. Very simple. So you don't need to be scared to Google things. If someone asks you in an interview, you know, how would you find this out? It's like, I don't know. I would Google how to install Node.js, and I would follow the commands there. I think that's a reasonable answer for some things. Not for everything, but for a lot of things. So we can do it through PPA. I just want to see the options they have. So we'll do that. I forgot what PPA stands for. I think we talked about it before. Look it up in a second. If anyone knows in the chat what PPA stands for, I think I had to look it up last time as well, but I did not remember it, so don't do that. Let's see. I'm going to do the long-term stable release though, not 12. I'm going to do 10 because I think that's a little bit safer. And let's go ahead and see if tonight I didn't install curl. So curl is a tool to be able to make web requests from the command line, and we can use curl to download. Nope, I said I wanted 10. To download things from the command line, and we're going to download something from this URL. An old school East Coast term, yes. Maybe it is. It's always interesting to find out. So I'm from the DC area. I'm from right outside of DC. I'm from Prince George's County, and like even just being in Baltimore now, like I never realized how many of the things that I said were local to kind of where I lived. And how many things are like local to like Baltimore that people say, and like all those things really like are jarring when you hear them. So it's always, every time you guys hear something that I say that like, you're like, yo, that's super East Coast, super DC, super Maryland, like definitely let me know, because I would like to know what those things are. But yeah, psych, I used to say psych all the time. I have an older brother. My brother's 6 years older than me. And I guess because those are things he used to say, I said them too. I still hear people say psych a lot too, but yep, I will probably say psych till the day I die. But all right, so we installed this PPA, and so now it's going to allow us to install this through our package manager, and it should give us an up-to-date version. So before, I think it was giving us an out-of-date version, which was like Node 8 point something, which I think is becoming end of life at the end of the year. But yeah, and so now I think we have, if I do a node -- version, I have node 10. So we have 10 installed this time, and let's see if we have npm. I don't think I installed npm, but I think it comes with this. And I'll do version and make sure we have. All right, so perfect. We are already miles above where we were at last time. Sometimes it is best to follow a tutorial and not to do exactly what you think you need to do, because last time we just installed the default ones that came out of the repos that were available to us at the time. But cool. So we have Node. Let's make sure Node runs, and you can console.log hello world. Perfect. All right, so we got a running instance of Node, and that is all good. Now, let's go ahead and grab, we're going to use the actual Node.js website. We're going to go on GitHub, nodejs.org, GitHub. Their site is actually open source, and you can download it and install it. And again, it is built off of Node.js. So we're going to go ahead and set that up. Very simple. So this is why GitHub's so great. You can put code out there. Other people can grab it and do what they like with it. We can go in here. If we weren't sure how to install it, we could go down and read here in the README how to do this, and it lets us know to clone it, change into a directory, install, and start it. So let's go ahead and try that. So I'm going to copy the URL here. I'm gonna make a directory first, its own directory. So actually, it's gonna make its own directory. No, let's make one. Let me go home. I'm gonna install this in my home directory, which is where I'm at. I should have known that by this right here. So we're gonna make a directory called, no, this is a little better. We're gonna put this in var log. So usually sites go in var log, usually HTTP. I'm gonna put in var log, and I'm gonna make a directory just because that's what people do. Make their HTTP, and I've got to do sudo because this directory is not owned by me. And now we have this HTTP directory that we're going to go into. And what we're going to do now is we are going to clone that. So git clone. Actually, you know what? I don't want to deal with any permissions issues tonight. I don't want to change the directory. I'm just going to do it here. I'm going to just clone this here. I really don't. That's one thing I don't want to deal with tonight. It should work fine anyway, but I'm gonna just do it here. So I'm gonna clone this. It's gonna make its own folder, nodejs.org. That's very descriptive. We know that this is the site that we want. We're gonna go into nodejs.org, and so this command right here is the first command that it gave us after the clone. We go down here, cd into nodejs.org. So now we're gonna do an npm install. And hopefully there are no issues this time. This is what caused us problems last time. Yeah, I don't know why Node and NPM are not properly maintained here. It's really annoying. Between the time when you're watching YouTube at night, there's some super random stuff. That's dope. Well, I'm glad you're here. I'm super glad you're here off of some random stuff. Tell your friend I said thank you, because this stuff is cool. This stuff can make you some money. A lot of money if you want to make some money. So yeah, so we're just going over some cool, today we're going over logging and observability, and just showing you how to do some cool stuff with applications and web infrastructure and architecture. So we're just going over a lot of cool stuff about that. So this time it looks like it worked. Lets us know it installed all the packages we need. Lets us know about all the random, it'll let you know about some security vulnerabilities. A lot of times, I can't tell you how many people's projects you'll see that it'll be like 10 severe, like high severity ones, and like that's kind of the problem with npm and kind of the way the ecosystem works. But it's all good. We're all good here. So now, what's the other command we have? Now we just have npm start. And excellent. So before, I think you guys remember we got an error when we did this, and now it's running. It looks like things are built. It looks like it's building some stuff. Looks like it's building the languages, different languages, and it looks like it's serving over port 8080. So let's go ahead and go to our browser. And it says we can get to it at localhost 8080. So we cannot get to it here, but does anyone know why? Can anyone answer why we can't get here at localhost 8080? Oh, thank you. I do my best to make sure my voice is as soothing as possible. I usually have some water here, but I don't have any water tonight, but I'm glad you're finding my voice pretty soothing and relaxing. But it is not because the port is not open. That's a good guess, but it's not because the port is not open. So remember, in here in our security groups, we made sure to say that the port was open. That port 8080 was wide open for the world to see. But this is our Ubuntu server right here. This is our Ubuntu server in the cloud, and it says we can get to this at localhost 8080. But when we go to it, we cannot. I'll give everyone another 20-30 seconds, see if anyone knows why. Sign in again. Oh, I gotta sign in the last page. Let's see. Yes, there we go. Because it is localhost is resolving to your own PC, not the server in question. There we go. Thank you very much. So it doesn't work. So even though this computer said, hey, you can find us running at localhost. And I click on it, I'm like, what's going on? Like, I got it running. I worked really hard to learn how to make this run, and I can't get to it. Well, again, localhost is that loopback address. It is the address that refers to itself. It refers to the machine that it is running on. Remember, this is running in the cloud. So this is a server that's running in the cloud, and so I cannot reach this from here. I can actually log into this, and I can actually curl it, and I will get stuff back, but I actually need to refer to it by its DNS name or IP address. So let's grab that again. Actually, let me show you something else that's cool. Let me log into this. Let's control C this first. Something cool, if you're on a server, specifically on an Amazon server, you can curl 169.254.169.254. This feels right. And I think you do, what is it, latest, or is it metadata / latest? This feels right. How can I just get, was it, or is it, I'll look it up really quick, but you can get all the information that I'm gonna get from the other thing. You can get it from here. That's spelled metadata wrong. Oh, there we go. Thank you. I told you, man, these fat fingers. I got fat fingers, so I make fat finger mistakes. I don't know if it's which way it is. I don't think HTTP. I think it automatically goes HTTP. Let's see. Let's Google this real quick. AWS curl metadata. I never remember what comes out. I think I got the IP address. I got the IP address right. That's good. Hard to remember sometimes. Oh, is it meta dash data? What is this? No one told me here. Did they just give me some docs? Garbage. I want some real answers. No, I don't want to authenticate. I just want to curl. Oh, latest meta dash data. All right, you guys definitely put that together for me. You can see here how it's, you forget this stuff. Latest / meta dash data. All right, and so it gives you some options here. And so this is just an API on the server that you can curl. And so this is actually making a web request to Amazon. And then, yeah, absolutely. Thank you for that meta dash data. I really appreciate that. That was helpful. But I can look through here and I can see what I want to grab from them. And I want the public host name. I said I like using the public host name, so I can grab that. And there we go. It gives me the public host name down here. It gets jumbled, so I know it's a little bit hard to see. But I can also do that with things, again, like the public IPv4. And so why is this good? Like the way, like, because you can do this, why is this good? This means that when you spin up servers, you can actually do things at runtime. You can actually grab information about the server at runtime and plug that information in places. It allows you to be very dynamic with the things that you're doing. But it also makes it so that if you're lazy and you're someone like me who generally doesn't like the console, I actually really don't like the AWS console. So I do as much as I can from the AWS CLI and through the tools that AWS gives you to be able to retrieve and parse their data. Yeah, things like this are really nice. We'll go ahead and we'll copy this because all we're trying to do is hit this application. We'll go ahead and hit it. Control V. And when I just do this, nothing happens. Why? Because when I make the request, the default port of the internet, the default web request is going to be going over port 80, but this application is running on port 8080. So if you like to specify a port, you got to put a colon afterwards, and then you can type in port 8080. And actually, this is not going to run for another reason, because I'm actually not running it. That npm start only runs as long as I leave this up. It's running in the foreground. So we talked about running things in the background before in the Linux piece. We probably forgot about that stuff, but this is running in the foreground. So if I control C out of this, it is no longer running. All right, so let's refresh this. So hyphens and URLs. Oh yeah, yes. I don't know what that. I mean, has that always been a problem? I don't know anything about hyphens and URLs. But okay. Yeah. So now we have. So you can see this here. This looks just like the Node.js website. There's a lot of ways we can confirm that it is not the Node.js website. And let's see. Nodejs.org. They look different. You can see the sizing is different here, and everything else is about the same. You know, we're using their code base, and this is probably simply because it's actually not the same. I mean, it's not different. I just had that zoom feature up a little bit, but they are exactly the same. But just so we know that we're working on our own, we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna modify this. So download for Linux x64. Look for LTS. Let's change some stuff on this page just so you can see what it's like to kind of change a Node.js app. So I don't really know. I don't know this code base at all, but I'm going to use the tools that I have available to me. I'm going to use these Linux tools that we learned a long time ago. So we're going to grep. We're going to use grep to do a string search. I'm going to do a -R to make it recursive. Recursive means it's going to check all these files here, and then it's going to say nope, or it's going to try to find things. It's going to let me know what it found. Then it's going to go into each directory, and it's going to go into each directory that are in there. So if it's going to external, if there's a directory inside the external, it's going to drive all the way down until it can't drive anymore. So we're going to be looking for LTS, and we're going to be looking for it in star. I want to see it in every. Whoa. Okay, big mistake. I should have done that. So let's look for something a little bit different. Let's look for current. But this is probably gonna display a lot as well. And what I can do actually is I can get inside of a different. Let's go into the main application because gross. Let's go into source. Source is usually, oh, no, it's probably not in source. All right, let's find a better way to find out what we need. Now, the problem is I feel like they use a weird way to do like 12.13.0. Let's see if we can grep for 12.13.0. All right, let's see if we can use this. This looks good. Build. And then we know we want English, so I'm just gonna use my, I'm gonna use what I know. And this looks like the things that were built. So I actually don't want anything. I want to exclude the build directory, actually. That's definitely what I want to do, because it looks like this is yeah, I'm gonna go ahead, I'm gonna exclude this build directory. I don't think that's where I want to make changes at. Next. I actually don't know how to exclude. I think you can actually just do -- exclude. But what can we use to find out what options we have available to us? We can do grep. We can do man grep, or we can do grep dash dash help. And let's see if we can find out how to exclude. Oh man, this is not scrolling the way I thought. We could invert, match, ignore case. Man, all right, we may not be able to use this because this is not all right, if we want to know if exclude is in here, how do we know if exclude is in here? We can do actually, can you grep, can I do man grep exclude? I actually don't know if I can do this at all, but we're gonna find out. Exclude. Oh, look at that. This is great. Exclude dir equals cool. Name match glob. Only files whose base match glob. Doesn't make any sense. But / like search the current man page as well. Oh, there's oh, that's cool. There's is our man pages using Vim? That's cool. That's like a VI Vim thing. Like, I didn't know that. So exclude from. I'll exclude or skip any command directory with suffix. All right, cool. Yes, man uses less. That makes perfect sense. That makes I've actually never made that connection. I don't know why I've never made that connection. All right, cool. So we can do a, what is it? Grep dash R. I don't know if order matters. What was it? Exclude dash dir equals build. And what were we? I don't remember what we were searching for. 12 dot. What did we search for? 13.0. Back down. 13.0. All right, that's better. That's better. Definitely better. It'll release markdown. This feels. I don't know why this feels right. This feels like the it uses some interesting markdown. I want to know what this is built off of. Let me open up this file. I'm just trying to break down how this is used. I wanted to change something on the main page. Okay, I don't think this is definitely not it. All right, so this is a markdown file. There's got to be some type of like config. Let me do the same thing with LTS really quick. Ooh, that didn't help at all. Release LTS. I wish I had, you know what I'm gonna do really quick? Do I have this locally? I wanna use some cool tools inside of VS Code to be able to do this as well. So and I want to basically I also want to do it pre-build. So I built everything. I could just delete the build directory, but I want to see. Hey, big deal, what's up? How you doing, man? Welcome to the stream. Welcome to the stream tonight. Let's see. I'm gonna git clone. Let's grab this again. So again, use the tools that you have available to you. If I was having trouble finding something there, let's see if I can have a better chance of doing it here. And I'm gonna open that up. Data input rather than, yeah, for the homepage buttons. I agree, but I think it uses data input for like the versions, and that's why I searched for LTS. But I bet you it's using some type of simple templating to be able to set up like where these like labels go, and where we're like, what is it, current, capital current. Can I do current? There are too many files here. Huh? I've seen sites like this. Thought I'd be very easily able to parse it, but no big deal. Let me see if there's an easier option on the homepage to. I probably should just search for something else, but I bet it pulls in, like, I bet it pulls in because it knew I was on Linux. I bet it does some data. It pulls in some data to know that I'm on Linux x64. It fills in all this. I wonder if I just do download 4. This will be the last try, and then we'll just do something. This is the server. Prep-rv, that in quotes, and see if we can just find a download 4 here. All right, so yes, this helped, and I should have known that there was an index.md right here. This feels, so we're gonna go ahead and edit that. Okay, so I think this is what we want. This looks right. So let's change LTS. Maybe you don't know what LTS means, so maybe we want to update the site to say what LTS is, because we don't think our users know what that means. So LTS stands for long-term support. I want to see if this works, so let's go npm start. It's gonna build. Let's let it build. It's building a lot of. I wonder if you can just build a single language. That'd be pretty cool. But this is the Node website, obviously. And what about ours? Let's see if they. Okay, perfect. So we made a change here. So I typed in long-term support. We got long-term support here. So that's pretty cool. We could now that we know how to make updates to the website, we're making them on the server. You never want to make your edits right here in production, but if you want to make your development server mirror production, the best way to do that is to just develop in production. But don't do that. Definitely, I'm serious. You shouldn't do that. But yeah, we made a change. We learned how to edit the website. I should have searched for something different from the beginning, but cool. So this is our web application. This just proves to you we have access to this website. But let's say a lot of people are hitting this website and we want to know information about this website. Like we need to make sure this is up. The service that we're providing, the tool that we're providing is very, very important. A lot of people rely on this thing. A lot of people are coming to our website to get information. A lot of people are coming here to get to some docs. So we want to make sure that our website, we know what's going on with our website. So one of the ways you can do that specifically with applications are with something called APM, application performance monitoring. So if you want to know exactly how what's going on with an application, you can use something like this. So tonight we're going to use a company called New Relic. They're pretty popular. Definitely pretty popular. We were going to check out something called Datadog. Again, the only reason we're not is because I ran out of my free trial for this a long time ago. Didn't even know I had one. And again, these provide a little more than they say monitoring. We got analytics here. All of this stuff, analytics is not something that I put into the slide deck. I put logging in there, but all of these things are things that fall inside of the observability. Inside of observability. So we're gonna use New Relic, and again, they are all very similar. There are many of them. I think there's Shinken in something like this. All right, maybe there's SolarWinds. I think is one. I'm not sure if SolarWinds is an APM or if it has a monitoring tool as well, observability tool. There are a bunch of these. There are really. I think Victor Ops is a cool one. So I think the shirt that I'm wearing right now. Actually, wow, that's funny. I did not wear this shirt on purpose, but this is from a company called Victor Ops. They always bring some cool shirts to a lot of conferences, tech conferences and stuff. Okay, but this is more of incident management. This isn't quite the same thing. Oh, did Victor Ops get purchased by? Oh no, I just clicked on PagerDuty. Okay, this is more for on call. Okay, not quite the same thing, but yeah. All right, so we're going to be using this one here. So they have a lot of options. All of these providers give you a bunch of different things that you can use. They give you a whole suite of things that you can go through and that you can use to get more information about your site. So again, we have APM here. This is kind of their flagship product. This is what a lot of people use this for. And again, this is application performance monitoring. This is great because they usually give you a little executable. You stick it inside of your code, and whenever that code runs, it reports back to New Relic, and it creates these beautiful dashboards for you. Does some logging for you. It does a lot of different stuff for you to be able to get information. Then we have New Relic Browser. I don't actually know what New Relic Browser is. I actually don't know what any of these things are, besides the APM. I'm sure there are just different aspects of the stack for sure. Wow, I didn't wear the shirt on purpose. That's true. I have most of the shirts that I wear to work. So my work wardrobe is almost exclusively free tech shirts from conferences. I go to a fair amount of conferences. Whenever I go, there's usually okay. I would think that at tech conferences, I don't know why, maybe because tech is a sedentary lifestyle job, I assume that they will bring a lot of big shirts. So bring a lot of like 2Xs and 3Xs. I'm a big guy. I need a 2X shirt. And usually they have tons of them left, almost always. And usually they'll give me 2 or 3. Like, hey, you need a 2X shirt? Like, yeah, we got a bunch left. Not a lot of people grabbed them. And they'll give me 2 or 3. So I have tons of tech shirts, and this is pretty much all I wear to work. And so when you usually see me, I have usually just come from work or just come from the office. Maybe I wasn't working, but I just came from the office. So you'll hear a lot more of these. I didn't wear the shirt on purpose. It's always interesting to see how what I'm wearing pertains to what I'm streaming. And I don't do it on purpose, but one day I'll start doing it on purpose. But tonight we're going to be using this. Back to this, we're going to be using this APM tonight. And so what they do, again, I told you they give you this little executable that you can put into your application. It's done in different ways. And so they don't have it for everything, but they do have it for these things. I could have spun up an application in any one of these things, but tonight we're going to be doing the Node one, as you know. So click on Node.js, and they're going to give us some information about how to get this agent installed. So we need to install the Node.js agent. What will you need? You'll need admin access to the computer in which you want to install it. We got that. We got admin access installed. So ability to configure any firewalls or proxies that allow the agent to report data to New Relic. We have that ability as well. Hopefully we have that ability as well. And so then you get a license key here that you use so that New Relic knows where to, like, which account to send your information to. Because everything's kind of sending it to their APIs, and that license key is how they filter it out to your account. And then install the New Relic agent in Node.js. So I'm going to reveal the key in a second. But the first thing I want us to do is install the New Relic Node agent. So we're going to use the Node package manager to do this. Very simple. They gave us the commands. And you can see here how when you go through these walkthroughs, they usually give you most of the stuff that you need to know. But you do want to take a look at the command. Make sure you kind of understand what it's doing before you do it. So npm install New Relic. This looks pretty safe to me. I know enough about npm and how package managers work, and that seems like a pretty safe command to me. So we're gonna let that download and see what they want us to do next. Oh, all right, we got our first node modules error, which is really interesting. Oh wait, is this which is very interesting. So I'm gonna give it a sudo get not found. Oh wait, not found makes not found. Do I need to install build tools here? That is, New Relic, stack error not found make. Let's Google this. Do I not have make? I'm gonna install make like this, but I probably have to install all the build tools. That's really weird. It's awfully odd. Looks like old Node and npm are not going to be our friend tonight, but we'll see. I might need to install make a different way. Okay, well that worked. So installing make worked. Definitely take a look at. You'll learn how to break down these errors. So there'll be a point where you're not afraid of all the red. Red is always a problem. Give us the build error. And the first line in the error is usually the one that gives you the biggest information that you need. And the first one that we have here is error not found make. And so sometimes it's hard to know. Like, I think if for me, if this was the first time I was seeing this one, it would take me a while. I'll probably be looking through all of this and trying to figure out what's going on, and it would take me a really long time. You are supposed to do that. That is normal. It will take you a while to figure out how to parse these errors and parse these logs and be able to figure out exactly what you're looking for. Errors kind of come through in very similar ways. So you kind of start to pick up the format of them. And the not found almost always is in reference to a Linux command. You might think this is in reference to a npm package or something like that, but again, that's just, I knew what to install purely off of experience, to be honest. But Google that error, so I'm sure that if we Google this, it would give us something like that. npm failed to install with make error not found. You go in here, someone pasted in their problems, and look at that. So this is what I was going to install, Build Essentials, but there's a lot of other things that come within Build Essentials, which is a great package. We just installed the single piece that I needed besides Build Essentials. You can see here, this person said, hey, just go ahead and install Make as well as GCC. But I do know that Make is inside of here. You can go through, this will be something that's safe to install. You can see here a lot of people have run into this problem and have upvoted it 375 times, which is great. But we were able to resolve that ourselves, which is pretty cool. And so let's go down and read what else we got to do to get this New Relic agent installed. All right, we've configured so now we need to configure the New Relic JS file. So copy New Relic.js from node modules / New Relic into the root directory of your application. All right, now the first time you might be going through something like that, you might be like, from where to where? Like, okay, I can copy a file, but where's the root directory of my application? So the root directory is going to be, the first directory you get into when you get in your application. So we're in here right now. If I were to go back one, if I were to cd ... and show you that I'm in my home directory, I do a pwd, show you that I'm in home Ubuntu. That's my home directory. I see this nodejs.org folder that I downloaded with everything in it. And once I get in there, that is my root directory. That is where essentially where / is for this project. And so we basically need to get that file into this location. So we need to copy it from node modules, New Relic. So very important here. Look at what you're looking at. They gave us a relative file path, not an absolute file path. What would make it an absolute file path? A / on the front. So that gives us information about where this is. So talking about having this in the root directory, we can kind of deduce that from the root, this is in here. So node modules is probably in the root of our directory. So is it? Yes, it is. And in node modules, is there a New Relic? Is there a New Relic thing? New Relic folder? New Relic. Yes, there is. There is a New Relic folder in there, and they want us to move this New Relic.js they want us to copy it into our root directory. So how do we do that in Linux? We're going to copy node modules, New Relic, New Relic.js to the root of this directory. So I could give it the full file path. So I could give it, an absolute file path from the root. So home, / home, Ubuntu, Node.js, this would work. But I'm currently in that location right now. So pwd, I'm currently in home, Ubuntu, Node.js. So I'm in the root right now. So I can copy it right to where I am. So I can copy node modules, New Relic, New Relic.js to dot. That means right here. Copy right here. And then now that we have that, we have a New Relic.js here. Perfect. We've done exactly what they said to do. Where do you work? What do you work on? So I work at a software company called Fearless in Baltimore. Pretty dope software company. We do civic tech for the government. We build, our tagline is that we build software with a soul. If you're interested, everyone should check out fearless.tech. It is a great company. Just head to the website, fearless.tech. Check it out. It's a pretty cool place. If you're looking for a place, I would definitely recommend working there. I've never worked for anyone as long as I work for Fearless because it is that great of a place. But I work on the Small Business Administration's digital footprint. So like I kind of I kind of head up the project that's modernizing their applications, their tooling. We write tools for them. We build out their website. We build out their backend infrastructure. You know, we've kind of transformed the way that we've done a full digital transformation there, and have changed the way that the government kind of does both agile and does DevOps as well. But cool, we've done that. We've only done this line. We didn't do the rest. So set a value for app name. Now, this is where documentation it sucks. I know what that means because I've read enough documentation and I've seen enough documentation to know what their intent was behind this. They're referencing, they're not obviously, but they're referencing this new relic.js file. And I'm assuming, I don't know actually, but I'm assuming they want us to set this value for app name inside of this file, but they don't say that here. And that can be, I can't tell you how many times when I was learning things, or sometimes I'll come through documentation for something brand new and I'm like, where, like, set value for app name, where's app name? Is that an environment variable? Like, what is that? So you kind of just got to play around and kind of read into what they want, but they want us to set value for app name, I believe, inside of new relic.js. So let's open up new relic.js and see if app name is in there. So we're going to vim new relic.js. All right, so app name. And how could we find app name? If we wanted to find it, we could hit / to search for it, and we could do app, what was it? App underscore name. And we found app name. Oops. And we want to set a name for this. And let's call this Mastermind Observability Test. Very simple. Actually, let's call this APM test. Too long. All caps, because we do all caps around here. And so this is just, it looks like this is just some type of configuration file. It looks like we can just set some things up here. So we did the first thing that they said. I'm not going to save it yet because we might still need to work in here. So we set a value for app name. Now replace the license key value with your new relic license key from step 1. So let's go ahead and just reveal this key. I'm gonna delete this account afterwards anyway, so you won't be able to do a bunch with that. So we'll take that, we'll go ahead and we'll paste it into the license key section. License key here, and we'll paste that in, and let's go ahead and remove that space, and let's exit and save. And we've set up our file, I believe. That was the last thing I said here. Let's see here. Fire new relic. Make the first line of your app startup script require new relic. So this is if you develop in Node, if you develop in JavaScript, this is a common paradigm. But this is just we're now gonna make sure that our application starts up while using new relic. So what have we done so far? We've downloaded the packages that we need for new relic to run. We've downloaded the agent for our application. We've created and set up a configuration file that tells new relic what our application name is and what our license key is, so it knows where to send the information for this service. And the last thing we're going to do is actually tell the application itself, or give the application itself access to this agent to be able to run this application when it starts. So again, this is something that, may be really difficult to do when you are first learning this stuff, or very confusing. You might have to Google around, and it's okay to say, hey, like new relic, NodeJS, where to put your require statement or something like that. You can Google something, hopefully you'll find something. You can watch a video to find out what you need to do. So let's go ahead and do that. Now, let's look at our files. Let's do clear. Let's look at our files. I don't know offhand what file we're using to start. Usually there's an app.js. I say server.js. That's usually another common file to use. Sometimes there's an index.js. There's usually a few different files that you can start your that you can use to start your application. But I'm not really sure what to do. So this is a Node. This is a Node specific thing. I know that scripts are set up in the package.json, and so when we ran that npm start command, npm start generally is fitted to a script that is inside of your package.json. So let's take a look at our package.json. So in here, there's this whole script section here. And so when I type in npm like build, it actually runs this command. So it runs node build.js or any of these things. These are all like those aliases that we wrote. So so when we run npm, what are we running? Npm start. It's actually running npm run serve. So that is run serve, and so serve is another command. So serve is all the way up here. So when it actually runs this, it's actually running another alias that goes up here, and that's running cross node server.js. So server.js is the file that it's using to start. That's really annoying. That's a node specific thing. That's not so much a DevOps specific thing, but again, just trying to show you kind of how this stuff works, like how you kind of gotta like learn how to navigate all of this crap, depending on what project you're working on. It's not important that you memorize anything like this. It'll all change depending on what you're doing, but you'll pick up little things like that over and over. So we're gonna go ahead and put that line in the server.json server.js since we know. Now I can put it anywhere that I want. I'm just gonna put it in this little space right here. Did I copy it? I'll put it right here. Hopefully this works fine. I think it'll work fine. You can probably put it right up top if you'd like as well. But I'm gonna go ahead and save that. And now that I've saved that, what can we do next? Deploy your application, and then we should see data in 5 minutes. So let's go ahead and deploy our application, and that's gonna go ahead, and I'm just gonna do npm start. I'm gonna leave it running. I could set it to run in the background. Actually, yeah, let's go ahead and run it in the background. Actually, I don't even think that's gonna run in the background. I think if I control C out of this, it might still be running in the background. Let's actually see. I don't know if npm works this way. Let me refresh. Page is still running. It is not. Well, it's just building. So let me see. Does look like it's still running though. All right, cool. So it's running in the background, kinda, but not really. Is it? Actually, don't know if it's running in the background. All right, cool. So it's running in the background. So what I want you all to do, I'm gonna paste this. I actually want you guys to start hitting this if you feel like it. Just go ahead and click on it a couple times. Yeah, go ahead and click on that link a couple times, and so we can start getting some traffic to this. Hopefully you guys don't shut it down, give it the hug of death. But yeah. Stopping momentarily. I plan to be here. Flash for the interview and panel stuff. Oh, perfect. Yeah. That's gonna be fun. I think that's gonna be really fun. I'm interested to see how it is with other like live people on here and how that goes. I'll have a list of questions that I'll ask only if people aren't asking specific questions. The goal is to get your questions answered first. So come with all the questions that you want for sure. That looked like a dev server, so Control C probably killed it. Doesn't do any special stuff on the background. Yeah, surprisingly, I wasn't sure if it did either, because I know when you're running a Docker container, the command to run it in the like long term to run it kind of as a daemon is a little bit different as well. Control Z, then type BG. Yep, to see that if it's in the background. But yeah, cool. Yeah, I can get back to it that way. It's one in the background. Yeah, it is running. So cool. So we hit it a couple times. And let's go back up here. Hopefully you guys were clicking on it a bit. And I click listen from application. Applications detected. Let's check to our dashboard. So we got some traffic. And now when we go to our dashboard, we can see here. I remember I called it mastermind APM test. So you can see right here. What is all this? Let me hide all this crap. I don't even know what it is. I probably should have read it. But this is our application here. And now you can see our app server, its response time, throughput, error rate is 0. So that gives us a lot of information already. And it's green over here. We click into it, we get all kinds of stuff. We can see as soon as we logged in, as soon as it started reporting here, that we started getting requests to the server, and we can see, what is being requested. We can see actually the instance that this is running on. Because this is a single application, we can put this on multiple servers and give it the same name, and all of this information will get aggregated into this one dashboard for this application. So what would happen is I could have like 6 hosts here. Imagine I had 6 hosts, and if one started to error, it would, it would give me that information. I would see error rate for a single server going through the roof here and CPU usage. So from the outside, without having to log in, I could see which servers were having problems. I will be able to see what the errors were, to be honest. I can see all those different things. This is a few minutes behind. It is a few minutes behind. It's not exactly real time, but it's pretty close. It's close enough to real time for large pieces of infrastructure. But you can see a lot. Again, you can see a lot of information here. Very simply, you saw how easy it was for us to kind of get set up with this, and this is why these applications like Datadog, like New Relic, are so attainable. That's why they're so desirable. They're expensive, but they're pretty desirable because of things like this. These do work with containers as well. The container monitoring paradigm is a little weird. It's a little different. I think you have to change the way that you think about monitoring, especially from someone who came from a traditional ops world. Like you don't really care about the health of a single container too much. You kind of care about the entire cluster, care about, if you're doing Kubernetes, your pods and things like that. So it's a little bit interesting, but you can see here there's tons of just crap in here that you can do. I don't want to call it crap, but it's just tons of stuff that you can do to really, again, get the information that you want out. You can modify these dashboards to get the information that you need to be able to make decisions and to know what's going on with your application without needing to be able to log in. And this is really good. You can set up alerting based on these things. So if you want to make sure that, if the CPU on your site ever gets up to 90%, you want to know about that so you can mitigate it. So it'll let you know when that happens. You can check your error rates. You can figure out what's happening before you even have to log in and get into the server, which is really nice. Saves a lot of time, and it is important. Observability has become a lot easier because of products like this. We used to have to, a lot of people used to just, again, have things like Nagios set up, and that will be your infrastructure monitoring. And we're going to get into a little bit of infrastructure monitoring in a second. But you would have something like that, and you would have to wait for alarms for CPU or disk space or things like that, and you would log in, and you would have to troubleshoot because although it alarmed, it wouldn't tell you what was really wrong. Like it would tell you that there is something wrong, but not what's wrong, not how much wrong stuff is happening. It would just say, hey, you told me to let you know when server 10 reached 90% CPU, and I'm telling you that it's reached 90% CPU, and now you've got to go figure it out. So this is what application performance monitoring is. I can know what my application is doing. This doesn't necessarily, although this does give me information about it gives me a little bit of information about the infrastructure. It doesn't necessarily care about that. All this is in support of the application itself, and that's why it gives me things like the request paths. Gives me things about the time it takes for the web transaction to happen, all that stuff. Things that are important. You want to know if your requests go up from your site might not be down, but what if your requests start taking 3 times the amount of time they normally take? You would want to know how long that is, and that is great. You can figure that out through something like this. All right. So, any questions about something about this? It's a common paradigm to run node commands in the foreground and then wrap them in containers or whatever. Yeah, maybe do GeoKeeper. I don't know what GeoKeeper is. GeoPeeker. That's interesting. Oh, that's cool. I didn't know what this was. That's cool. Oh, so did you run this through GeoPeeker? Where'd it go? Oh, I thought this was the actual NodeJS website, so I didn't even, okay. No problem. That's cool. I didn't know about GeoPeeker. There's so many cool tools out here. Try to generate a bunch of 404s, and now a bunch of 404s. This goes to show up, hopefully. Yeah, let's actually check. Perfect. And I want to know if 404s show up as errors by default. CPU usage. We'll keep an eye on that and see if we can see those 404s pop up. Because I know it does like 500 errors and all that stuff. I don't know if I wonder if it sees 400 as well. They are 400 errors. So Maybe it will. But yeah, let's see if those pop up. We'll let that go for a while, and we'll check in. If you guys want to keep hitting that, go for it. See what you can generate. I think we should be fine there. And maybe I'll figure out a way. I'll grab a script to generate some load or something to see if we can get some other stuff going here. But the next thing, let's skip over to logging. I was gonna go straight into the CloudWatch stuff, but before we hop into that, let's what you guys were seeing here, what you guys were seeing when I started up the application and it was spitting out, you know, what was going on, that the build static started and SAS CSS started, and now the server's running here and it took this long to finish, and this is logging. These things, yeah, this is logging, and so usually this gets spit out. Traditionally, this gets spit out to files. So on a Linux server, you can generally go to var/var/log. Yeah, they're usually in that location, and then there's usually a bunch of stuff here. And as you install applications, they generally put these things in here, and they'll have different information. So let's say something like the syslog here. Let's say I tail-50 syslog. It gives me a bunch of information. Again, this is hard to parse. Like, if I don't know what I'm looking for, if I'm just taking a look at this, I don't know what's happening. But it is information about everything that's going on for the system. And you know, different logs give you information about different things. We have some stuff about auth, so we can see who logged in and like you know, who authenticated with the server. Kernel log here, all this stuff kind of goes here. So logging is pretty simple. Again, it usually gets parsed out into these logs. You can actually how do I bring something back to the foreground? I don't remember how I do this. Do I do, what is it, jobs? And then, okay, the foreground. I can do something like this. Right here in this, let's go back to where we were. So yeah, foreground. So cool. I can go to. Oh, you guys, man, you guys are way faster than me. I never know. You guys are faster than me. I should start looking at the chat. When I ask a question, I'm usually talking out loud to myself. But I need to start looking at the chat, because then I can do things that much quicker, because you guys always have the answers. Cool. We're not really making anything. We downloaded the NodeJS website. It's open source, and we want to get it running. We want to see if we can make some changes to it, but tonight we're just working on monitoring and logging, and showing some aspects of that. So we just hopped into we kind of set up New Relic on here just so we could see what some application performance monitoring look like, and kind of see the types of things that you would want to monitor, and like the types of information that you could get out of these things. We wanted to focus on some observability. Yeah, observability, and just knowing how to, being able to see this information and knowing what you can do with it, I think is important. And this is kind of the part of the bootcamp we're running. But yeah, in here, if I do, let's say I want to run npm start again, I can pipe this. I should be able to pipe this to like a log, to a mastermind log.txt. And oh man, I thought it was going to I might have to log in. Let's log in again over here. So RSSH, the wrong server. Let's log in again so we can tail that file, because I should have run that also in the background. But what I can do is just log in again. It's no big deal. You can log in with multiple sessions. You don't need to, you know, if you've already logged in once, feel free to open up something else. T's like screen, right? You can't do that once something's already running. I don't know, I actually don't know how to use T. Is T like screen? I know about it. You can log and tail at the same time with T. Hold on, you guys are telling me some magic. I don't know about this. I love this. I'm gonna sound so smart at work when I do stuff like this. I definitely know about T, but I've definitely copied and pasted some T commands. Let's find out what to do. We're learning. I like to learn too. All right. T commands explained for beginners, because I am a T beginner. So I want to know what it does and how to do it. All right, so they're pinging Google. Oh, that is nice. I like that a lot. But okay, that's very interesting. That's very interesting. So but what that doesn't do is that doesn't move it to the background. That's very interesting. So what do you just do? What was it? T, and then where was I? And I just do T and the name of the file I want. And so I don't even specify the file in the first thing. I don't need to do any output redirects. I just do, whoa. Start pipe T. This feels, so it'll tail and it'll go to that file at the same time. So if I log back into the server and I'm also tailing the file, this will be cool. I did not know about this. Didn't know about this. Oh. Copy. Tail -F. Oh man, this is the best. I'm gonna use this so much now. Well, I'm not really gonna use this at all because we actually don't, because we're so container focused, like, and everything's kind of immutable, and we do a lot of infrastructure as code stuff. All of our logs actually come through CloudWatch or some other thing, which is really, really annoying. And that's why I start to miss some of these like Linux commands, because I'm doing everything, like I do literally everything I do now is through either Terraform or through CloudFormation, or through some repository and updating, a Lambda here or something like that. So I don't get to do this sweet stuff. But when I'm developing things locally, T would be, this is gonna be nice. You guys are teaching me some cool stuff. So all right, that's good to know. I'm adding that. I just added that to the tool belt. So thank you very much for that. Prince embraces the standard out. That's super nice. Super duper nice. Yeah, this is good. I always love this. I tell you, I took that :X thing in Vim to work. I took that to work. I told everyone about that. That was nice. I didn't know about that. That made me happy. All right, so cool. So we have so this is all logging is. There's some great it takes some time to learn how to parse logs. Again, every application does logging differently, gives you information different ways. What I do want to talk about for logging, though, before we get into CloudWatch logging, is log levels. So there are some standard levels to logging that give you different sets of information. So what are those levels? Some of the common logging levels. And we'll start from the bottom. The bottom is all, or really the bottom is off. Make this a little bit larger. Really the bottom is, this is why this is not working. Let me do, mouse integration. Oh, that's so much better. Oh, it's scrolling now. Okay, that's great. I didn't have mouse integration and my VM turned on. I should have that, but basically off, it doesn't sound like anything. It does not log anything at all. And the next thing you get is all. So all will log everything, every single thing that is happening in an application or whatever you're logging against. It will log every single thing that happens. Now, you may say, oh yeah, I want that. I want to know everything that's going on. No, you don't. You don't want to know everything that's happening. Most of the time, there's very few situations where you need to see everything that's happening, good and bad. You don't need to know that usually. But again, there are times where this happens, and knowing that you can set your logs to the all level is something that you may need to do. Trace is really fine grained information, finer even than debug. So maybe I should go from the top to the bottom because it looks like they're referencing other levels. So we'll flip it really quick since they're referencing other things. But fatal is pretty self-explanatory. This only logs fatal errors. So the only time that it will log information is when it receives a fatal error. So generally, I think this is a little too too deep. I think generally you want a little more information than Fatal, but there are some applications where you don't care about that much, and you only want to know when something major happens. And Fatal, again, will only log something when it is catastrophic and it has destroyed or stopped your application or from running. That you should be concerned. So that's what Fatal is. And it's a good word for that. Error is generally the same thing. But error is a very serious issue. Usually it represents a failure in something very important. Unlike Fatal, the application itself isn't going down the tubes. Sure. Sure. Generally, when I see errors nowadays, they are pretty serious and the application is going down the tubes. So that's weird that they said that. But yeah, both of these are pretty bad. Errors are pretty bad. And I kind of lump errors and Fatal together, to be 100% honest. Warn. So warning is a good one. So a lot of people log just error. A lot of people log warnings as well. So all of these, it's good to know that all of these do their level and above. So Fatal will do Fatal. Error will do error. Like if you're on error, I believe it'll do Fatal and errors. And if you're on warning, it'll do all of these up to warning. So now we're getting into the gray area. So these are things that are of concern, but may not be detrimental. Well, may not cause your application to break. There's a lot of times you'll run into warnings and things are working. But something just is off. Something that doesn't go with what has been configured, and warning allows you to see those things. And again, it says it right here that you might have a problem. This might be something you want to fix, but it may not be a problem. So warnings kind of just sends you some information about that. Info again is dialing down stress level. Info messages correspond to normal application behavior or milestones. So these are good things. It's definitely good things. Well, not good things. It lets you know what's happening. You know, as the application updates, as it runs through things. Info will give you a lot of information. There will be a lot of information that comes out of info. There'll be a lot of information that comes out of info, but it doesn't mean it's good or bad. It's info about what's going on. With debug, you start to include more granular diagnostic information. Here, there are ways to set up when you're developing an application and setting up logging. You can set up logs that only deploy when you're in debug mode. That are for debugging applications that you don't want to always run, because again, it gets noisy in here. But debug gives you a little more information as well. Gives you some more specifics, lets you get a little more granular in these situations as well. We talked about trace a little bit, and then all. But again, why would you not want to do all these things? There is something called alert fatigue. This is generally in reference to monitoring and the alerts that you get when you have alarms based on the metrics that you are looking through. That is when, when you get a lot of alarms for small things, if you don't tune your alarms properly and you're getting alerted when there aren't really problems, what happens is you stop paying attention to those things. And this same thing happens with logs. If you have a bunch of logs and your log level is too high and you're getting too much information, you may ignore the things that are important. You may miss things that are important. And that is why it's important to, one, be fine-tuning your logging and making sure you're not spitting out too much information or information that is that doesn't fit within each log level. But just, again, to make sure you're getting the information that you need so that you don't ignore bad things when they do happen. But yeah, log levels, good to know. It's always good to know that you can almost always, you can change the level of logging that you have available to you per application. So use it when you need it. And that's something that I thought was pretty important to hit tonight. Some log systems use silly as the most verbose. Super verbose log systems are really annoying unless you're great at parsing them. Again, it takes practice to get good at parsing them. There are now a lot of tools that allow you to parse these things. And actually, these APM things like what are we using tonight? It's like New Relic. They actually do some cool they'll have like machine learning in them now, and they'll basically, if you're getting common errors, they'll basically like spit them out to you saying, hey, like we see, we're seeing a lot of these that you're not responding to. Is it actually a problem? And you can kind of click no, and it'll suppress those errors. It'll learn to suppress things that aren't a problem. Makes you lazy, but good. Those are good tools. They are helpful for you and your organization. All right, so we talked about the application and monitoring the application. We talked again both with these performance metrics and monitoring, and logging. We talked about that stuff and logging. But in AWS, we have some monitoring available to us as well, and that is a tool called CloudWatch. And I think we covered this a bit during the cloud computing section, but we have this thing called CloudWatch, and it's a good name. This is one of their good names. You want to watch. You want to, the first words in the slides were that I can see. So think CloudWatch when you want to observe and know what's going on with your system. And CloudWatch gives you a bunch of options. And again, alarms. We talk about alarms and alerts. But a lot of people use them for logs. So CloudWatch logs is a way to aggregate the logs that are happening in your system. So basically your logs get piped out to here. So these are some logs from those Lambdas that we ran during the Lambda lab. But we could configure, I actually think it would work if we could configure the system instead of running this stuff and running it, piping it into the mastermind log.txt, we could pipe it to I think you have to put it in syslog, and then you can configure your server to basically send that information out from the server to AWS, and it will aggregate those things here into these log groups, and you can check them here, which is pretty nice. Usually it's a couple seconds delay, just like a 5-10 second delay, so that you can see them kind of real time, and you usually have to refresh to see the updates. But this is a place that you can do to again aggregate your logging and get those logs into here. And again, this is usually application specific. You can set this up for various infrastructure tasks. You can create log groups for pretty much anything. Pretty much anything in AWS, and that's pretty cool. But you can also use these things called dashboards. And I made this a little bit earlier because I hadn't created a dashboard. I've actually never created a dashboard by hand. I've only ever created dashboards through CloudFormation, actually. But you can use these dashboards to set up mastermind observability. I'm call it observe. You can use these to set up again, just like we were looking at in here. We can set up dashboards to check things like CPU usage and disk space and things like that. I actually think you can't do RAM for free. I think it's a custom thing you got to set up, but you have some options here on what you want it to look like. And we'll do a little line chart, and then we get a bunch of options on like what we can look at. So again, this is for your infrastructure. So it's more than just the EC2 servers. You can manage things like, you can set up these things for like billing and things like that. But let's go ahead and take our EC2 instance, and we're going to say per instance metrics, and we are going to look over here on the metric name to the right. And so this gets actually very confusing to set up, but you can look over here to the right where the metric names are, and these are the metrics that it can filter off of. So if I want to see the CPU utilization, I can grab that, and it'll show me the utilization of the CPU. And maybe I want network out, so I want to know how much data is going out from my server. And maybe I want a lot of stuff in here. I actually didn't realize how much stuff there was in here. Maybe I want disk read. Maybe I know people are reading, but I don't really want people writing to the disk. This, and then maybe just network packets in, whatever. I can create a little widget here, and this will start to give me all this stuff. It'll give it to me in one graph because I set up one graph. If I wanted those all to be separate, I would have to create one for each of those. But there's just an overlay here, and I make it bigger, and I can click on different things, and I can see different things on here at the same time, which is really nice. But it gets weird because of the axes, which is really weird. But I can see that information. I can see it pretty much real time. So I think CloudWatch metrics, now I should know this because I'm studying for the SA Pro, but I think by default, you get kind of a 5-minute polling here. And I think you can pay extra for, I don't know if it's like advanced monitoring or something like that. There's a word for it. And I think you can pay a little bit extra to get it to be on a per minute polling basis. I think that feels right. Hopefully that's right. But yeah. But you can see here, it's gathering information about what's going on the server, and you can see how you could set this up to where, you know, you're choosing the things that are important. So let's say you're getting, all of a sudden you see something like super high CPU utilization, but you also see a super high network in. You can say, hey, oh, like maybe that CPU usage that I'm getting, maybe it's not the application running amok. Maybe it's simply because I'm getting lots of traffic, and you can go ahead and check the traffic that you're getting to see if maybe, again, we use this example all the time, but maybe Ellen, maybe your site was on the Ellen show, and now everyone's, you know, going to it because they want to buy your product because she endorsed it. And you can see that, and you can deduce some things from that, and you can know what's going on from these things. So you can kind of use a combination of these things to know what's going on. This gives you a lot of information. The application stuff here gives you a lot of information. Again, combining these two things with the logs, that lets you, combining this with like your log groups in here, that gives you, again, that gives you kind of a 3-pronged attack on your infrastructure without actually having to log in and know your infrastructure. And again, we have one server going right now, so this may seem like overkill, but if you are an organization that's running, you know, hundreds, if not thousands of servers, and you're running, maybe you're running an application that's running on thousands of different containers, you have, you know, 7 or 8 applications that serve your main user base, and you have to monitor databases and things like that. Having tools set up in this fashion, having logs be somewhere where you can, that are aggregated, that you can access, that you can parse, and having metrics being monitored, so things like CPU and disk space and memory, and having things like network in and out and IOPS, and making sure you have your hand on the heartbeat of all of those things is very important. And then making sure that you have your hand on the metrics of the application itself. So, you know, you're worried about the server, you're worried about CPU and all that stuff, but you're worried about things like response time, and you're worried about throughput, and you're worried about how many processes are spawning and things like that. And all of these put together a giant picture of what's going on. It's really, really nice to get all these things and do them all together and be able to make decisions off of that. Once you have it in place too, it gives you, if you're someone who's responsible for this infrastructure, responsible for this application, it really does give you some peace of mind to at least know, like, hey, if I am having a problem, you know, I have the tools to pinpoint this, because it is kind of hard to you know, you may hop into a server and you may say, all right, I got high CPU, you may run a top, and if I run a top, I can see, all right, I don't have much load here, but my application is not serving properly. And maybe you're like, hey, is anything even running over the port that I need? And you got to know all these commands, and you got like, hey, is 8080 even running, and like, is it open, and like, oh, I can't even do that because I'm not even root. And you got to get in here and you got to do all this, you got to do all this information, you got to know how to do these things manually, which is fine. It's good to know those things. But nowadays, again, when you're running clusters of computers, when you're running hundreds or thousands of computers, when you're at an organization that's doing this many things, even if it's just 5 or 10, you don't want to have to log in and find out what's going on with one of the servers. You want to be able to find all that out outside of here. And all these tools allow you to do that. And that's what observability is. Remember, observability is different from just monitoring. And again, the difference is observability gives you, it gives you those different data points so that you can make decisions about what's going on. Like, and it gives you a full picture of what's going on inside of your infrastructure while you're on the outside, without you having to get into it. So yeah, tonight was short. Does anyone have any questions about monitoring and logging? We maybe we'll set up, I can set up the logs. I'll try to set up the logs really quick to pipe out to here so you can see the logs when they come out here. Actually, I haven't done this manually for an EC2 instance in a long time, so I actually don't know how to do it offhand, but we'll Google that and we'll see if we can get that done. But definitely ask if you have any questions about any of the things that we talked about tonight. And pat yourselves on the backs, because if you've been here for the whole time, you've successfully made it through 11 weeks of some complicated content. Some things were simpler than others, but you made it through 11 weeks of the hands-on tough stuff. And now you're getting on, like, now we're moving on to the soft skills per se, stuff that's just as valuable. But yeah, we've kind of gotten to the end. We've learned how to, from the beginning, how to kind of build an app. And again, you're not going to know how to do this, all of this stuff, but you kind of have, you should have a pulse. You should have your hand on the pulse of some of this stuff. And you should, when someone talks about monitoring, observability, you should now have a slight understanding of what that is, and say, hey, I've seen some of the tools that people use for that. I know that you can use CloudWatch to do that, or something like Datadog to kind of do some of that observability. I know how you can, pipe out log information. I know the different log levels. I know that there are different log levels that give you different sets of information about different things. And you can start from the beginning. You can start from the beginning and say, hey, at the beginning of this, I did not know what DevOps was. So hopefully you have a kind of an understanding of what DevOps is, or at least what DevOps is from my point of view, because again, this will change from person and company that you go to. Hopefully now you're like, hey, I understand, like, I've seen what code is and what it can do. I may not be good at it yet, but I saw that, I can specify these things called variables, and, I saw what a loop does, and I saw how I can iterate through things, but I've seen code in action, and I've seen how you can use it to solve a few problems. And you can say, hey, I learned some Linux. I know that Linux runs the world, and, I've learned some Linux commands, and I've learned how to navigate the command line, and I've learned, everything you do from the command line is really the same thing that you're doing from the desktop, and you're just doing it from here. And hopefully you've learned how to install applications and things like that on Linux, and hopefully you learn how cloud works and how cloud computing works, and how you can dive into AWS or GCP or Azure, and you can easily spin up web resources, web assets. Hopefully you also learn that AWS has an overwhelming amount of things, so it takes a long time to get up to speed on all of them, but hopefully you know what their core services are. Or again, just saying, hey, like, hey, I know what the cloud is. I know what AWS is. I've heard someone talk about an EC2 instance, and I think I know that's a server, and I've heard about an S3 bucket is actually very valuable. Knowing infrastructure as code. We went over infrastructure as code, and then we spun up some stuff manually in here, but we learned how to spin this stuff up via code. And now you can codify web infrastructure, web assets. You can write some code and pass it to AWS. You can give it a shopping list, basically, and it will give you everything on that shopping list. And it'll spin up real web infrastructure, real tangible web assets. There, we learned about containers and containerization. We learned about Docker. We learned how, you can package these things up into all these libraries and binaries up into these little not bite-size, but these tiny little packages that can run basically anywhere that runs Docker, which is great. And then we learn how, even though these things are small, how do you run them at a scale? We learn about Kubernetes and how you run them, all over, and how you can take one image and spin up thousands of containers and be able to manage that and orchestrate what's going on with that. And then we learned a little bit about the CI/CD pipeline. We roughly learned about how you take an application, and after it gets built and we make changes to it, you learn how you can run it through a pipeline. You can run it through a pipeline of processes that usually incorporates testing, automated testing, and runs through and does that and execute your processes and put your code where you want it to be. We learned a little bit about CI, the difference between continuous integration, continuous delivery, and continuous deployment. So hopefully you got that a little bit. And tonight we learned a little bit about observability. So all the things that we've talked about, how do you see what's going on with all those things? How do you make sure everything's good? How do you get that information and get a full picture of what you want to see? So that's a lot of stuff. That's 12 weeks worth of cool stuff. 11 weeks worth of cool stuff. And it's a lot. So again, do not be hard on yourself if you don't have that. That is why right after this, again, we're going to take a week and do things like, we're going to do, again, like I said, a retro on what this is. We'll talk about what a retro is, and we'll go through and we'll retro on this, and we'll figure out what we liked about this, what can be better, what we want to do next time, what was beneficial, what wasn't. We'll talk about all that stuff, because all that stuff is very important. And then we'll do that. We'll do a little bit more non hands-on tech related stuff. We might do a week of agile as well. I think it's important for people to know some of the processes that go into building software. Probably do agile, and then we'll hop in deeper to each of these things that we went over. So we'll hop right back into things like Docker. We'll spend hard time on Docker, not just a week. We'll spend 2 or 3 weeks really diving through and doing examples, and we'll dive straight into more cloud stuff, and we'll dive straight into a lot of different things. So we'll dive deeper into all the stuff, but everyone needs kind of a baseline to run through. So hopefully you enjoyed that. Hopefully you got something out of this. I know people have been 2 hours a week, 4 hours a week. It's not a ton of time, but everyone has busy lives, and that's a big commitment. People have stuck around for a long time, so I just want to thank you for that. And I'm excited for I'm excited for next week. But again, this is the last really technical, hands-on technical piece. So just kind of wanted to recap all that we've done so far. So cool. All right, so heavy focus on how I want to move forward. Absolutely, that's great. I was lucky at this point. Start understanding the concepts now. Yeah, you're always learning. I have a lot to do. Everyone has a lot to do to kind of get up to speed, and everyone has a level of what's great. And taking all you gotta do is take the time to invest a little time into it. I think helps. It really increases your it really increases your stock if you spend some time investing in this. But again, you don't have to spend a lot of time. It gets progressively easier if you're trying to do this stuff in the very beginning. It may take you have to study a lot, and it may take you a while to start to get concepts. But I promise you, through the process, you'll learn how you learn. You'll learn how to learn things quicker through the process. So I don't know. It's very important to learn in the process how you learn best. Being able to go out and help foster that information for yourself is great. So I'm glad that was great for you. But absolutely great stream, hugely beneficial. I really appreciate that. Again, we're gonna keep doing this. We're gonna make this better. I have a good time doing this. Yeah, and it helps submit the things that I know and that I want to learn. And again, we're gonna expand this to a few more things. So if you're more interested in things like software engineering or specifically cloud computing, I was really surprised at how many people were like, "Hey, can you do more cloud stuff?" Like, that's what I'm trying to learn right now. I'm really trying to get into AWS. I don't understand it. So I was gonna keep the cloud stuff strictly to the DevOps stream, but I'm going to do a cloud one as well as a Python one, since we didn't do Python. And next time, I think we will do Python instead of Go at the beginning of this. Python is just so big right now that I think it's a disservice not to do it. But that's just one of the things that we'll talk about in retro. We'll talk about in retro. But yeah, that's it for tonight. A little bit early. Give yourselves 9 minutes back. I'm trying to think if I have anything. I don't have any announcements or anything like that. Also study for your Dev Associates. Perfect. At Dev Associates, there used to be at least a lot of DynamoDB on the Developer Associate. So just know how to calculate read and write capacities. I don't know if they changed it, but there were like 6 or 7 questions on calculating read and write capacity on that one for DynamoDB. Not hard, just something you gotta know how to do. But cool. Everyone have a great night. Thanks for joining in, and I'll see you all on Monday. Bye.